whatever support France or the European Union can give us. It will not work. It has not worked, and it will not work. In our country, in our region, in our continent, on the basis of whatever support the Western world or France or the European Union continue to make policy for ourselves, in our country, in our region, in our continent, on the basis of whatever support the Western world or France or the European Union can give us. It will not work. It has not worked, and it will not work. Our responsibility is to charter a path which is about how we can develop our nations ourselves. It is not right for a country like Ghana, 60 years after independence, to still have its health and education budgets being financed on the basis of the generosity and charity of European taxpayers. By now, we should be able to finance our basic needs ourselves.
We should be able to finance our basic needs ourselves.
And if we are going to look at the next 60 years as a period of transition, a period whereby we can stand on our own feet, our perspective has not to be what the French taxpayer decides to do with whatever surpluses that they have in France. They're welcome. They are appreciated. Whatever interventions that the French taxpayer through their governments make to us are appreciated. We're not going to lick a gift horse in the mouth. But this continent, with all that has happened, is still today the repository of at least 30% of the most important minerals of the world. It is a continent of vast, arable and fertile lands. It has the youngest population of any of the continents in the world. So it has the energy and the dynamism. We have seen it. These young men who are showing so much resilience and ingenuity in crossing the Sahara, finding ways to go across with rickety boats across the Mediterranean to really, those energies, we want to have those energies working inside our countries. And we're going to have those energies working in our countries if we begin to build systems that tell the young people of our country that their hopes, their opportunity are right here with us. Migration and the movement of people is being presented in a manner which suggests that somehow it's a new phenomenon. There's nothing new about it. It's as old as man, the movement of people. And it has always been linked to the same thing: the failure of where you are to provide you with an opportunity, so you move somewhere else. Those of you who are familiar with 19th century European history would know that the biggest wave of immigration in 19th century Europe, the latter part of it, came from Ireland and from Italy. Waves upon waves, generations of Italians and the Irish people left their countries to seek the American paradise, largely because Ireland was not working, Italy was not working. Today, you don't hear it. Italian young people are in Italy. Irish young people are in Ireland. We want young Africans to stay in Africa.
If you believe, shout! Listen!
And how are they? And it means that we have to get away from this mindset of dependence. This mindset about what can France do for us. France will do whatever it needs to do for its own sake. And when those coincide with ours, tant mieux, as the French people say. But our main responsibility as leaders, as citizens, is what we need to do to grow our own countries. What are the institutions that work, that would allow us to have good governance, to have accountable governance, to make sure that the monies that are placed at the disposal of leaders are used for the interests of the state and not for those of the leaders, to have systems that allow for accountability, that allow for diversity, that allow for people to be able to express themselves and contribute to fashioning the public will and the public interest. Our concern should be with what do we need to do in this 21st century to move Africa away from being cap in hand and begging for aid, for charity, for handouts. The African continent, when you look at its resources, should be giving monies to other places. We have huge wealth on this continent, in our own country of Ghana. And we need to have a mindset that says, we can do it. Others have done it. We can also do it. And once we have that mindset, we will see it as a liberating factor for ourselves. We keep talking about how it was that Koreans, Malaysians, Singaporeans, who got their independence at the same time as us. We're told of that at the time of Ghanaian independence, per capita Ghanaian income was higher than that of Korea. Today, Korea is part of the first world. So is Malaysia. So is Singapore. What happened? Why did they make that transition? And 60 years after independence, we are where we are. Those are the matters that should concern all of us as Africans, as Ghanaians. And not, when I say so, with the greatest of respect to the French president. I think that the cooperation of France is something that I am, as you know, a strong friend of France. I am Francophile. So I don't have any difficulty with that. But I'm talking about our own propulsion, what we need to do to get our countries to work so that we can create the conditions that would allow our young people to forego this hazardous effort to get to Europe. They're not going there because they want to. They're going there because they don't believe they have any opportunities in our countries. So that should be our focus. And I believe that with that if we change that mindset of dependence, that mindset which is contingent on aid and charity, we would see that in the decades ahead of us, the full flowering of the African peoples will take place. And that new African personality that was talked about at the time of our independence will become real and imminent in our times. That's what I'm saying. I hope that I'm not upsetting the questioner or even some of my friends who are here. But these are my strongly held beliefs. And that is the reason why I've adopted as the slogan of my presidency, of my period of the Supreme Office of Ghana, that we want to build a Ghana beyond aid, a Ghana which is independent, which is self-sufficient, that is capable of standing on its own feet and building its own life. We can do it if we have the correct mindset to do so. Mr. President, those are my contributions. I'd like to add some additional comments to what the French president has said. Libya is today the source of all the destabilization that is taking place in the Sahelian region. The arms that are circulating in the Sahelian region are all coming from the armory that Colonel Gaddafi established in Libya before his downfall. So resolving the crisis in Libya is not just resolving it internally for the Libyan people. Not only does it therefore provide an opportunity to bring to an end these barbaric acts, these acts of savagery that are taking place against Africans on Libyan soil, but it also provides an opportunity finally to come to grips with the crisis in the Sahelian region. And therefore, the coordination that the African countries are now wanting to undertake, better to organize their response, both to the issues in the Sahel and to Libya, are extremely important for the stability of our region. Whether it is Boko Haram, the jihadists in Mali, those who are menacing the stability of Niger, of Chad, of Burkina Faso, there is a common link which is the terrorist emanations from Libya. So it's extremely important that all of us, as effectively as possible, of course, if we have partners such as France, who have indicated their preparedness to be involved in that coordination, the better it is for us. But it is a matter of primordial concern for us in this region. If we don't come to grips with the situation in Libya, it's going to become difficult to come to grips with these, what I consider to me, ancillary, subsidiary matters that are taking place in the Sahelian region. That is how important the resolution of the crisis in Libya is. So the decisions that now have to be made at the continental level by the AU, whether it is in a position to mount the direct military intervention, how it sees the issues of security and stability in Libya, are some of the most important decisions the African Union is going to be taking in the, and as you can see, I have my own things to contribute as well. So let's bring it to an end.